there are different things that make Catholics give, or different environments, and there are other environments that Catholics aren't giving so much. And he breaks it down, and it's very, very interesting because a lot of the things that we think are important really aren't. Welcome back, my fellow Catholic, to CatholicFundraiser.net, your source for the best and fantastic advice and tips, tools, strategies to get you moving forward in fundraising in a Catholic context, with the foundations of the Catechism, Catholic social teaching, and Holy Scripture. That's where I'm coming from, and that's how I operate. Today, I want to talk about a book that I read. Actually, I picked it up probably a year ago. I've read it once and then flipped through numerous times. So I thought, what better thing to talk about than this fantastic book? And but before I do that, I just want to mention, this book as well is fantastic. It's my own. It's Alms, Your Definitive Guide. Yes, I have to read the title because when speaking on camera, everything, we quickly forget things, or I quickly forget things. Your Definitive Guide to the Ins and Outs of Catholic Fundraising. So just going to leave this copy right here. Pick up a copy. It's pretty much everything that I've learned, just how to put faith, fundraising, and Catholic causes, putting it all together and moving it forward, and actually how to be successful in fundraising. So pick up a copy today. And the book I want to talk to you about today is Why Catholics Don't Give, and what can be done about it. So it's a fantastic title to a book, Why Catholics Don't Give, and what can be done about it. I could muse about this title for a while. Anyways, I'm going to put it right here. Definitely pick up a copy. As I said, I really like this book, primarily because the guy, the author, what's his name, Charles, he just did an analysis. A lot of money was put into writing the book, and he went in, he did the research, and he figured out, okay, everyone's saying Catholics don't give. Why is it that they're not giving? And what can be done about it? And he learned there are different things that make Catholics give, or different environments, and there are other environments that Catholics aren't giving so much. And he breaks it down, and it's very, very interesting because a lot of the things that we think are important really aren't. For example, if you live in a wealthy area and you have a parish with wealthy parishioners, that doesn't really mean you're going to be raising a lot of money. So finding rich people, rich Catholics, doesn't really mean you're going to be raising money. And as well, another thing is you got to have a big parish. You just got to go to the mega parishes. Again, he says that's not true, and he actually says things like, if there's a strong sense of community and there's a strong prayer life, prayer groups in particularly are important. But I'm going to go into these in a bit deeper with just outlining the 10 lessons from this book, Why Catholics Don't Give, and what can be done about it. So I've arranged them here on kind of just one after another that I think you can build upon. So the first lesson is this sense of focus on community. So before you go out and fundraise and ask people for money, focus, what's the community like? What are our donors like? What are our supporters like? How connected are they with what you're doing? So figure that out first. What's the connection like? Are you only contacting them by chance every now and again, and only the real focus on communications is when you're asking for money? You got to focus on that. The second is build upon it. So wherever you are today, you got to build your community. It can always be better. Make it into a family. And then the third is allow for feedback. Really, really, really important to have people, have Catholics have their say. It doesn't mean that what they say is going to completely impact what you're doing, but they just want to be heard. And to be honest, sometimes, maybe a lot of times, I know I've had it several times myself, somebody gives me feedback and they're like, it's like a light bulb gets turned on. about what a great idea. And what is helpful is if they encourage you to do something, more than likely that one person that they're encouraging you to do this, it'll impact your relationship with everybody else. So that's what I mean by light bulb. Because we can be really focused on our own cause, on what we're doing, and we get very narrow-minded, self-centered. It's just nature. That's just how we are. And this outside-the-box thinking comes from feedback. The next point is going beyond the money. The author is really big on this sense of stewardship. So fundraising, he describes it more as, that's the act of getting money, but he's really a big fan of stewardship. So you must maintain high standards of integrity and honesty, and you've got to build relationships, and you've got to be in touch with people, and it's year long. So you can't just have a fundraising campaign like in December or during Lent, and that's it. Stewardship is you've got to ask. I'm a big believer in connecting the catechism with your fundraising, and particularly the section on prayer, which talks about, yes, asking God for things is called a petition, but we can also thank God, we can intercede for other people, and you can add these different elements to your fundraising or stewardship, where you can intercede by asking for feedback, getting involved in what other people are doing, thanking people. So all these things throughout the year, you got to make sure that you're doing them, and that's going beyond the money. The next, very, very interesting, he talks about minimizing the use of volunteers. So this is directly from him. If you want to develop the time and talent portions of giving, it's important to impress on people that the time and talent that they do contribute should be viewed as ministry, not just as volunteering activity. Hey, if you're available, would you be able to do this? It goes beyond that. It goes beyond just doing something when you have free time and you feel good about it. It's ministry. You're called to do this. So when people are helping out, maybe they do start out as volunteers, but try and elevate that into something more. The next, he's a really big believer in institute pledging. And this works really well in today's age with online giving, because pledging is simply saying, I commit to X amount for a certain amount of time, where it's not just a one-off donation. So you want to avoid the one-offs, and you want to institute pledging. And this is great for online donations because you can do monthly giving, quarterly giving, semi-annually, annually, etc. You want people to go down this route. 7, so meet the needs of your supporters. Again, this concept of giving back to people. So when you're asking somebody for money and you want their money, well, you have something to give them as well. You have your expertise in this cause. You know what's going on. You know how to make an impact, and you can share that to people. So make sure that you know what your supporters are looking for in response to their donations. And you'll be surprised. It's nothing big. It's nothing dramatic. But they want to be kept up to speed. But go beyond just the normal every now and again newsletter about this is what we did, and then attach another donation request to it. Ask them, what specifically do you want to know? Share that, and share it regularly without asking them for a donation. And the great thing about institute pledging, which was the previous point, is you don't have to constantly ask. It's like you ask that one time, and it's a recurring gift, and then you can focus on building community, focusing on community. 8, the author says, offer estate planning as an option. So just remind people to put you in their will, put you in their planning for the future. You can have a few documents on this, and mention it every now and again, and it can make a big difference. 9, fundraising is what we do. Stewardship is who we are. So fundraising is one-dimensional, the author says. It often just focuses on the checkbook, while stewardship invites us to change our hearts. Very powerful. Fundraising typically occurs annually, while stewardship is an ongoing commitment. So this concept of not just focusing on when you're asking people for donations, but wrapping it into the bigger picture. How are you keeping in touch with them? How are you thanking them? How are you asking them for their feedback and their advice? How are you, going out, and if there are other things that you can do, what are those things that you can do? Figure out, like, how can we make a community here? And then the last point, which I found very, very interesting, is start a prayer or study group. So of all the parish programs that he researched, so this is specific to parishes, and activities that someone can offer, the sponsorship of prayer and study groups at church significantly affected contributions. So I think this can be used for any type of cause. Find a way of putting a prayer or study group into action. And the reason that it's probably so powerful is that you're focusing on community, you're focusing on God, you're focusing on Christ, and you're going from there and you're building upon it. And those are the starting points of great fundraising. So that's it for me. It's a great book. I recommend that you go buy it, as well as I recommend buying a copy of my book as well. 2 great books on Catholic fundraising. I highly recommend it. So if you like this video and you're watching on my YouTube channel, hit the like button. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, subscribe. That way you know what's coming up and you don't ever miss one of these great videos. And if you know anybody who could find this stuff helpful, please do pass it on, because we all know that with a little bit of help, Catholics can do a whole lot more and focus more on their mission, as opposed to struggling and stressing out about this thing called fundraising and stewardship. So God bless my fellow Catholic, and I'll see you soon. Bye. Thanks for watching this video on CatholicFundraiser.net. If you liked what you heard and saw, make sure to subscribe to my website. You can just click the link right there as well. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, which the link is either there or there, but definitely keep in touch.